Hi folks, welcome back to another episode of Baking Geek. Today I'm going to give you my most favourite strawberry cheesecake recipe. If you've got another cheesecake recipe at the moment, throw it out, because I'm going to explain why this recipe is so much superior than other recipes out there. First of all, the thing that, if you've ever had a cheesecake that sat in your gut like a lead weight, that's 99% of other cheesecake recipes. This one, I actually use yogurt instead of sour cream. It really takes away that fat content inside the recipe and helps impart all the other flavours that come through on the cheesecake. That's the big difference in mine. Now I'm going to flash the recipe up on the screen, so I won't really talk too much about that. First thing I think we should do, we get our base prepared. I think I've got a 28 centimetre here. This recipe should do it. And I generally do my recipes up around like a one block of Philly cheese and one punnet of strawberries. So this is a fairly simple recipe if you want just one cake. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more than that because I'm going to do some miniature cheesecakes as well. And I've got a bit of freezer room now, unlike before. But first thing we're going to do is get our base on. Now the only thing I rarely ever weigh, actually I never weigh it, I just, with our base, we're going to be using like a milk arrowroot type of biscuit. I've already given these a whiz in the blender. It doesn't matter, there's some thick chunks in there. I used to sieve it and be really fastidious, but now I don't even bother. The other thing I put in my base, I've got some toasted coconut that goes really well with a strawberry cheesecake, the coconut. And make sure you bake it off. Toast it, not bake it. Oh well, either or, yeah. And don't burn it, because it burns very quickly. So we're going to add the toasted coconut to the arrowroot biscuits. Now you can easily use gluten-free biscuits for this as well. Yeah, that way you make your cheesecake gluten-free. Okay, so just mix that toasted coconut all the way through. Beautiful, beautiful. There we go. Oh, if you could smell that, that's sensational. Okay, so now we're going to just melt our butter. We want it fairly warm. I generally always tend to bring it to the boiling point. Now, when I throw it in the mold, I'm going to use like a little spoon like that. If you don't have one of these, it doesn't matter. You can just use a dessert spoon and spread it out over the mold and just compact it in there. Okay, I'll be back in a minute, folks. Okay, we're back and the butter is melted now, and I've just brought it to the sort of bit of a simmer, you know, a bit of a boil, and I'm going to chuck it in here, yeah, into the crumb mixing. And you don't want to burn yourself, so make sure you get a spoon or something to mix that through with. Here we go. Just start incorporating that. And that's starting to look almost near where we want it. Okay. Right, a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to use a lot of that. There we go. Yeah. Then after that, you can sort of get your hands into it and your fingers into it. It's a bit of a feel thing. Okay. What you want to see is okay, can't quite see my hand in that. Right. What you want to see is you want it to clump like that, like that, basically. I'll just move that camera angle down a bit. Right, that's a little bit better. Okay, so you want it to clump, and then we're going to start putting this in our mould. Spread it out. Okay, we're back. We're talking about boiling up your strawberries and making sure all the acidity's gone out of them, so when you hit it with the gelatin actually does its job in the cake, okay? Alright, so we're just about finished with our base here, and I've built the sides of it right up. What we're going to do is once we're finished, we're going to chuck this in the fridge. Okay. Right, there we go. So So it's nice, the base is nicely compacted now. Right, okay, that's where you want it to be. And you chuck it in the fridge, let it set for 10-20 minutes, whatever. And yeah, hopefully you get a nice firm base by the time you've made your cheesecake mix. So if you get everything lined up in order, it'll actually be a very quick job. So boil your strawberries, make your base, get your cake tin lined with baking paper. I've actually got, for this one, I'm going to do something special later. I'm going to do some big cheesecakes. I'm also going to do some miniature cheesecakes. So these are my miniature cheesecake molds. Guess what they are? Bit of PVC I bought at the hardware shop. You know, they make the perfect mini cheesecake mold. So I'm going to be doing some of them as well, put them up on the channel. You guys are going to go nuts over them. They're going to look fantastic. If you own a bakery or a cafe, this is the sort of stuff you got to be doing. See ya, back in a sec. Okay, so we're back. So hopefully you've got your cheesecake base lined with the crumb and the coconut. You've had your strawberries on the boil for over 20 minutes. Don't forget that, it's a big important thing. And you've got your gelatin mix made. Now, go back into my video that says Gelatin Explained. I'm using 30 grams of dry gelatin to 210 grams mils of water, and that will make my mix up, okay? So that's gonna set this whole thing, right? It's a cold set, so we're not gonna bake this. That's another episode of baked cheesecakes. All right, anyway. Let's get into it. So first thing you're going to do, you've only got one bowl, so what do? You're going to whip your cream up first. You're going to put it on high. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of sugar to it. Now this recipe really doesn't take a whole lot of sugar. All the sugar is basically in the jam. That's mostly where you're going to get your sweetness from. And that's where all your flavour is going to come from. So don't be too worried if there's not a lot of sugar in the main cheese cake sort of bulk recipe. Okay, it's going to pull some flavour out of that strawberry mix. Word. Okay. I'm going to use. I need about 900 mils of cream. I'm going to guess this. Yeah, that's about half. Okay. Woohoo! Now, I'm going to take my cream about, I'd say 80% of the way. Some people say never fully whip your cream, but I do take it a fair way, more than most people. Okay, so we're going to get our bowl out. Right. Okay, so your cream's whipped. Hopefully you didn't make it cry. That's a stupid joke, isn't it? Oh God. Yeah. Okay, right. Doesn't have to be spotless, people. Okay. Right. Back on there, ready for the next round. Okay. Right, where is that knife? Okay. Now I tend to use the Philly cheese for this, folks. Does a good job. It's always pretty staple. There's cheaper versions out there, but I tend to buy the Philly cheese. And the yogurt, you're going to need a really nice Greek style yogurt. This one was on special. Got this for $1.60. There you go. So I'm actually doing 1.5 times the recipe today, so I'm going to use 1.5 blocks of this. Normally I'd just use, for one cake, I'd just use 1 block of this, but I'm going to use 1.5, and then, because I've got some small ones I'm going to do as well. They're a real treat. Anyway, let's get on with it. Okay. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to break this up into small chunks and just basically just throw it into your mixer. Just sort of help the process along. There we go, just like that. Get rid of that. Get the other one out. There we go. Cut this one in half. Oh, that's half. So we're going to use 375 for this one, and like I said, it's a slightly bigger version, only because I'm doing some mini cheesecakes as well, just because it's popular. All right. Get rid of all your junk. And before we do that, actually, I'm going to weigh out the last part of the sugar. Now, the sugar sort of helps break down the cheese in a sense. You don't need a lot of it. Like I said, this is already going to be very, very sweet. We don't want it sitting in our guts like a lead weight. Here we go. Alright, so a small amount of sugar. Oh, actually. God, trouble opening stuff today. Here we go. Oh, that's the one. Okay. Okay. Alright, so we're going to, before we start mixing, we're just going to add some sugar to that. It'll help break down the cream, the cheese. You don't want it. So we're going to measure out our yogurt. Start adding a little bit of yogurt, and that cheese will start taking on the yogurt and bring it both to the same consistency. A little bit at first, then we're just going to keep adding it. Right, and that's it. That's the whole lot. Yeah, we've just added all the yogurt. Like I said, I'm going to flash the recipe up on the screen, so there's no need for me to... I'm doing 1.5 times this recipe, but when I put the recipe up on the screen, that will be for one cake, one 24 to 28 centimetre sort of cake. And basically, you just want to get the lumps out of this stuff. It's already starting to come out. You can see that from the mixer. just going to make sure we get right down underneath it, get all that stuff that's stuck to the side of the mixer. God, what did I do that for? Right. Okay. Okay. Add the last of that sugar. Clean up. No, you never know. You always make a mess sometimes. Not always, but Alright, so in the bowl we've currently got our cheese, our yogurt and our sugar mix, okay? In the fridge we've got our cream, and at the end stage of this video we're going to combine everything. Okay, it's going to look fantastic. The cheese mix is starting to get there. Hopefully you've got your gelatin mixed up. Should look something like that. Big piece of rubber. That's what says it. I'm just going to carve this up and pop it in the microwave. So I don't want it hot. I want it fairly warmish, you know, because we're going to start adding some cold cream to it. It's going to set very quickly. Okay. The cheese mix is pretty much there. I can't see any lumps, so I'm going to turn the mixer off now. Okay. Right. Let's get out. Right, so our cheese mix, just waiting on the microwave. Okay, we'll be back in a sec. Put it all together. Okay folks, we're back. So hopefully you've got everything in order. You've got your strawberry jam mix. It's smelling beautiful, I tell you that now. You've got your cream whipped, you've got your cheese with your yogurt mix, and you've got your gelatin, and you've got your base lined. That's very important, don't ever forget that. Line it with silicone. We've gone through the base. Anyway, 30 grams of dry gelatin into 210 mils of water. That can go straight in, okay? Where's that whisk? Hopefully you've got a whisk. Okay. What I actually might do this time is I might actually hit this stuff with a stick blender and really pulp up that strawberry, because if I was doing a large cheesecake I wouldn't mind some chunks of strawberry through there. It'd be quite nice. But I'm doing some mini cheesecakes with this as well, and I really want the flavour to pull through on those things. So we're going to hit it with a stick blender. Okay, here we go. That's it, that's all you need to do. Just hit it for 30, 40 seconds or whatever. Done. Okay, now you can really start to see a really nice pink colour coming through on this. I'll just put that over there for a second. Now, I'm not a big advocate of using food colour. I rarely ever use food colour. But in this situation, I really want the colour to come through. You can either use a pink or a red, doesn't matter. And we're only going to use a couple of drops here. There you go, literally that was it, 3 drops. Okay, food colour in general has some nasty stuff in it. I don't even want to go there. Don't even go there with me. Alright, okay. So we want to try and keep this as natural as possible, and that's what we're doing. That's a really nice colour coming through. So what we're going to do now is you're going to feel for the temperature. It's a little bit on the warm side because the strawberries have only just finished boiling. But what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some cheese just so it doesn't sort of split. And as you add this cheese, hopefully you've got a big nice bowl like this. You can use a wok, you can use anything to combine all this stuff in. As you add this cheese, because it's quite cold, it will start to cool down your mix and the gelatin will start to set. Okay, so here we go. I can feel the temperature changing on that already. You can add more. Here we go. Yep, that's cold already. Yeah. And once it gets cold, you'll find the gelatin will really start to come into its own and set. Okay, so you can really start throwing that stuff in there. Okay, almost got everything in there. There we go. Want it all to go in. Okay, so get that in there. There we go. That's beautiful. You can tell by the look of it. It's already got that shiny look to it. The gelatin will impart that shiny look. So here we go. We're going to start adding the cream and basically start folding through the cream. And as we're doing that, you'll find this mix will start to set. That's looking gorgeous. Okay. One more. A little bit more, and then we're going to add the last bit. You can already tell I've got a ton of cheesecake mix here. Right. Last bit. I'm going to take the whisk out, and we're going to start folding. Right. That's the cream. All of the cream in, all of the cheese in, and just start dragging that stuff up from the bottom that hasn't got as much cream in it, and just use a folding method. There we go, just like that. It will already, like I said, start to thicken. Get that cream off the scraper. Here we go. Just until you see the amalgamation happen. It may take, there's still a couple of cream lumps in there. I want to get rid of the cream lumps. There we go. They'll rise to the surface and just fold them in. Almost there. Here we go. We're done. That's it. Right. What should you see in your cheesecake mix? You should see a really nice shine. You should see amalgamation. No splitting whatsoever in any of that. Okay, so we're going to get our mould. Get our mould out. Right, we're going to grab a scraper. And basically just pour it straight in, guys. There we go. There we go. It's going to be a nice big one. 28 centimetre. And then what you're going to do is just going to tap it a couple of times just like that. And then we're going to pop it in the freezer. If you've got any worries that you haven't put enough gelatin in it, you can always take a small sample with a spoon, chuck it in the freezer with it for a couple of minutes. And after a couple of minutes it should be fully set, but if you use the amounts I've told you, you'll be right. It's all good. So hopefully, folks, you've done the right thing. You've got yourself a beautiful strawberry cheesecake. Look at I've got another video on there on the YouTube where I decorate the video, decorate cheesecake. Watch that one. It'll upgrade your fruitwork skills and all that sort of thing. But anyway, folks, hopefully you enjoyed the video. This one goes out to my niece, June. This is one of her favourite recipes. She made a pig of herself at Christmas time. But hopefully you like this one, June. I told you I'd give you the recipe one day. I'm giving it to everyone. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. See you later, folks. Bye.